All right, next up, we're going to scroll down until we find the section called Cut the Story, Copy, Paste, and. We're going to focus on this first area up at the top. Let me zoom in so you can read along with me. It says there are many ways to edit text. You can remove a word by highlighting it and then pressing the delete key on the keyboard. We did that on purpose. So the first thing we're going to try is we're going to delete the word delete. So if you double click on a word, it selects that word or highlights. And on your keyboard, you can push delete. So find the delete key on your keyboard and push delete. It disappears. Undo. Now I want you to push the backspace button and see what happens. Same thing. So you may wonder, what's the difference between delete and backspace? So keep the cursor where it's at. It should be blinking in front of the letter K. And take a second and compare what happens when you push delete and when you push backspace. Because they do two different things when you just have the cursor blinking. If you have a word selected or a sentence, it will remove the whole thing. But take a second and get a little bit familiar with the difference between the backspace key and the delete key. Right, another way that you can remove or edit your text, it says words can also be cut from a paragraph and placed elsewhere. Now in these directions, it talks about the command looking like a pair of scissors. And Google Docs used to have a scissor icon for cutting. It doesn't have that anymore. So what we're going to do is I want you to select the word cut, and you'll find cut under the edit menu. There are the scissors. What you'll notice is you also can type on the keyboard. You can hold the control key down and hit X for cut. You can also right click on the word and you'll see cut. So it doesn't matter which method you use. You can do Control X, you can go to the edit menu, or you can right click, but you're going to cut this word cut. Now cut is used to get rid of text, or if you want to take a word and completely put it somewhere else. Another editing trick is copying. Okay, so copying means you want to take the word or the phrase and you want to duplicate it. When you copy it, it actually sends it to the clipboard. Every computer has a little clipboard. So if we copy it, puts it on a clipboard, and you can paste it somewhere else. So highlight or select the word copy, and right click, choose copy. You can go up to edit and choose copy. You can do Control C. But get that word copied, click behind it, and to paste, you can find paste under the edit menu. You can also right click and paste, or you can push Control V and it pastes what I just copied. I would put a space to, spread those out. Cut works the same way. If you cut text, you can paste it still. So cutting it doesn't remove it forever. It just removes it and puts it on the clipboard. So all of these techniques will save you time instead of having to retype things to get rid of them, or if you want duplicates. Now that you've practiced some of the copying and the pasting, I actually want you to select that whole paragraph, including the line underneath, and I want you to hit the backspace button, deleting all the instructions. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our story set up. Okay. Story is the copycats. So our directions say, complete the story. From the list of words below, find a place for them in the story to complete each sentence. Copy the word from the list, position the cursor in the sentence, and paste it into place. So we're going to take the words in this table, and we're going to place them in the story where they belong. You can either go word by word and figure out where it goes, or you can start reading the story and determine what words belong. However you decide to do that is up to you. I'm going to just start reading this. 2 black walked down the street. Okay, obviously something is missing here. 2 black cats. I don't want you to type the word cats. You're going to select the word cats, and you can either copy it or you can cut it. It's up to you. I know the directions said copy, but if you'd like to cut, you can. That way you know you haven't missed any words. I'm going to cut. I'm going to click after the word black, and I'm going to paste. Now, of course, black and cats are 2 separate words, so you'll want to click your cursor between the word black and cats and hit the space bar. So take a second and go through and get all of the words in their place. Once you have all the words in place, you're going to highlight the directions and the table and delete. Okay, so now we've got our story ready to go, and we're going to start formatting this using some of the skills you've already learned, but we're also going to learn some new skills. First thing we're going to do, we could make the title look good by changing the font, changing the color, but we're actually going to do something different. I want you to highlight the title, The Copycats. Now, sometimes you know how you can see this extra little space gets highlighted? That just means that if I highlight this whole word, these 3 words, and this little extra piece, that means I'm going to be selecting like the enter button. So it'll be like copycats return or enter. But for this case, it doesn't really make a big difference if we have that highlighted or not. So I want you to cut that however you want to do it, whether you right click, you go to edit, or you do Control X. So we're going to cut it. And then we're going to insert word art. I want you to go to the insert menu. And you won't see word art on this menu. But you figure that you would, but you don't. Because in Google Drawings or Google Docs, we have to insert a drawing. So click Drawing. And if we look in the drawing area, there's a button labeled Actions. Click Actions and choose Word Art. Now this says use Enter to save, use Shift Enter for multiple lines. So in this area, we're going to paste. You can right click and paste. You can click Control V. And you'll notice my cursor went to the next line because of that return. So hit the backspace button so that you pull your cursor up to the line above it. Now, if you hit save and close, what you want is not going to happen. We actually have to hit enter to save. So hit enter, and your text will come up with an outline, and it looks really cool. Now everything works the same as the text with fonts, but we need to do that within the drawing area. So I'm going to go through and choose a different font. This one's pretty cool. One thing to keep in mind is anything that hangs off the edge of your drawing will not make it into your document. So you may have to change the size a little bit, but you can make the letters nice and tall. So you make them tall and thin. You can make them nice and short. You can change the fill color. You can change the border color. You can change the border thickness. You can really get a lot of customization with this, which is pretty cool. Once you like your title, you'll hit save and close. And it does come through really big. If you want it that big, that's perfect. If you don't, you can still make it bigger or smaller. And then you'll want to center. So that's the first thing. Use word art for the title. The next thing you're going to do is we're actually going to make the rest of our font nice and big. Get somewhere around, 36 is okay. Let's look at this. Let's look at the whole page here. That's not bad, but what we're going to do is we're going to pick something in like the 30 range. So we're going to take each sentence and we're actually going to separate them for the next part. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your cursor and click in front of the word both. So that's to the left of the B. And I want you to hit the enter key. Just separate the text. Hit it one more time just to get a nice break. Then we're going to find the next sentence. It's they. We'll hit enter. You may have to hit that twice. Then the last sentence, the cats. So click my cursor in front of the, hit enter twice. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to enter some clip art, but we're going to do something else with our clip art. So we've got two black cats walking down the street. So I'm going to insert a drawing, and I'm going to go find a picture of black cats. You want it to be clip art, and you want it to be transparent. The reason we do clip art is because if you have a photo, there are a lot of shadows, there's no transparent situation happening, and putting multiple pictures together is not going to look good. Clip art is the best way to combine multiple pieces and have it actually look like something you may have gotten on your own online. So let's find some black cats. See if I can find two. Now I can't find two, but I have a lot of black cats here. I can come up with two cats, right? And I can use this cat, any cats. Get one in here, make it smaller. Again, anything hanging off the edge will not make it, may not make it into your drawing. Let's add another one. So we have our two cats here. Now the story is about these cats going to a restaurant, getting milk, walking down the street. So maybe before our cats go find anything, I want to show that they're thinking about being hungry, let's say. If I wanted to add a thought bubble, now you're going to add a thought bubble. What your cats are thinking is up to you. As long as it's appropriate, they can be thinking about anything, as long as it relates to the story. So you look at the story, think about what you think these cats could be thinking, because we're going to go under shapes and call outs. And you're going to look for the thought bubble. Now nothing happens because I have to draw it. So draw yourself a thought bubble. You can move the thought bubble. We can change the size. There's a little yellow button that you can pull to adjust where the thought bubbles come from. Click outside in the checkerboard area to lay down that clip art. But what we're actually going to do is I want you to click back on the bubble and I want you to start typing. I'm going to say, milk sounds so good. You can center the text. You'll find that under more if the window's not big enough. We can change the font sizes. So these shapes allow us to add text, and the text responds just like it does in the rest of our document. We can change the alignment, we can change colors, do all those kind of things. Add yourself a talk bubble, put some text in it, and save and close. Now this did mess with our page. It is pretty big. I definitely want to make that smaller. And I definitely want to wrap the text. So make sure you do those things. And I'm obviously going to put my clip art near the part of the story that it's kind of referring to. As you do this, one thing you might notice is that our font is way too big. If yours is, feel free to make that a little bit smaller so that everything doesn't get all scrunched and crazy. So you'll add a picture of two cats with a talk bubble and some sort of thought that the cats might be having. Make sure you wrap the text so that everything wraps around. And I want you to add one more clip art or one more drawing with some custom clip art. And you could include a shape with some text. You could include another talk bubble. So one more clip art that fits the story. Make sure that everything fits on one page. Once you start adding in your clip art and changing your font sizes, make sure this all fits on one page. And then mark it done.